It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I'm going to show you a few things that I do with my own statuary, and maybe you'll get some ideas on how you can salvage what you have. I said it once and I'll say it again. Fix it, don't chuck it. We spend good money on this stuff, so you can put a little work into it, put a little time, and you can come out with some brand new pieces. Now, this week we're going to be working on metal. I just recently covered pottery and resin statuary. I got a few of those resin pieces back there that I just finished up. And I have this 3-tier bird bath. That's resin that really has gotten a bunch of cracks in it. Now these pieces are expensive, so you can fix it, and they don't deteriorate in the landfill. So like I said, that's my preach. You're gonna hear it from me a lot. So today we're working on metal, and I'll just give you some idea of what you can do to fix these up. So we'll start with these. These metal plant stands are really great. I've got a ton of these, and they're deteriorating in different stages. So this one on top is the worst. That's going to need a wire brush. Really starting to break down there, but that can be fixed and it'll last for a really long time. So let's get these out of the way. Alright, now when I did my pottery, just toss them off to the side. When I did my pottery video a couple weeks ago, I forgot to come back to this piece and show you what I did with it, but you can always go back and see the condition that it was in. Now this is a metal piece with a stone accent, and the metal isn't too bad. It's not even jagged, and it lived laying on the ground with raspberry bushes growing up through it for really quite a few years, and I think it held up really great. So basically what I did with this, I put the netting that I mentioned in the other video. I filled the bottom with stone and lined it with terracotta pieces because terracotta loves moss. And I wanted to keep the moss that was growing in there as well as this. This is a wildflower. It grows in people's lawns up here in Connecticut. It's like a juga. But it's free because it grows everywhere. So I kept that in there because that's going to hang down and look really pretty. All right, moving on. Let's see. Another piece of pottery that I had already sanded down and refinished, and it's still starting to chip. So I'm going to have to take the wire brush on that again and peel off some more of that paint. I'm not too worried about this piece because I don't really use it that much. So, it's not that important, but because I'm working on other pieces right now, I'm going to keep working on that there. And let's see, what else we got here? Oh, these were really pretty. Like silverware garden decorations, and my husband got these for me at the same fair that he got this for me, and they were already super rusted. I don't really understand why I think they're really pretty. I love them. I can fix them up, so I don't worry about that for myself, but I don't understand why a fair vendor would bring all these rusty ass pieces for sale at the price they sell them at, because I don't want that in my yard. I worked as a landscaper for a really long time, and I had to work around this stuff in people's yards, and they're sharp, they're jagged, they hurt like hell when they cut you, and you got to get a tetanus shot. Update. every year. So that's got to be fixed up. I might add a little color in the wings to give it a little luminosity, I think. But, you know, most of these pieces came just plain black, rusty, you know, like these. But, and, you know, the eyeballs, a couple of those fell out. So I'm going to have to fix those back in. And it looks like they were originally put on with contact cement, which is good because hot glue gun doesn't, I don't know. I think that's hot glue. Dang. Yeah, when you're doing garden pieces, especially if you're going to sell them, don't use hot glue. This is metal. It's going to heat up in the sun. No wonder the eyeballs started popping out. So I'm going to have to get some contact cement and put his eyeball back on and probably reinforce all these pieces. It's crazy. And right here, right up here, a little welcome sign. Let's see. He's actually held up pretty well. I'm afraid that the neck is going to start, the springs are going to start to rust out. A couple pieces look like they might start to break off. So I'm just going to go over this and reinforce it a little bit just to strengthen it up, because that, you want to keep them strong. Like the paint's starting to chip there. Not too bad, but it's not going to last a couple more years if I continue to let it go like that. And here I've got a planter holder, hanging planter holder. It's not in too bad shape. But once again, I'm going to clean it up and repaint it. I might add some gold to the sun, I think. I think that will look pretty, and do the rest black. But it's all about keeping up on your statues. So this is one of those things you get from the catalog. You know, my husband loves getting me garden statuary because I enjoy it. So this is one of those whirligig things that never really worked good. It was expensive from the catalog. It worked for a day, and then you know, definitely did not last too long. So I'm going to have to see if what I can do with that, and if maybe I can work the mechanics to get going. Oh, and I'll show, there's another piece to it. I'll show you where that is in a second. And this again came from the same fair as the Dragonflies and the spoon and knife set Dragonflies. It was already really rusty, so we're going to address that. And I don't know if I'll add color to this yet, but this is a really pretty planter. And down here, let me move this guy. This is a beautiful cast iron bird bath. It was pretty chipped off, so I've already taken a wire brush. I actually put a wire brush on a drill and scraped off most of the paint. So now you can see it's starting to build up a little rust right there. No big deal. I'm going to go back over it again. It's nice and warm in the sun. It's the right temperature. And I'm going to go back over it with the wire brush and a steel pad and clean that up and paint that up. Beautiful bird bath. It's very old. And it was being used as an ashtray. Come on. So I scooped it up and I'll do my thing with it. So that's about it. Since it's so nice out right now, I'm going to work on my resin pieces now that I got my Bondo today. So I'm going to Bondo into these big cracks. This is a water fountain and it's got a lot of cracks. So I want it to be watertight. And I know this isn't metal, but it's going to be a part of my day. So I'm going to seal that up, and once it's dry and cured, I'm going to paint it same colors. Yeah, it's just falling apart. So I got my work cut out for you, but let's go exploring in the garden, because as I clean my garden beds, I keep on finding more stuff. So let's go check out what we find in the archaeological exploration. All right, first thing we have here, I forgot to pull that out of the ground. So this, same thing, it came from a fair. It was already super rusty. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to pull it out of the ground, take out the decorative stone. I'm going to put a bright gold with maybe a little something to tone that down a little bit. And on the black stand and on the leaves, I'm going to do some green accents. So that's number one. It's got to come out. And look what I found the other day. That's where I plant my squash and cucumber. Where'd it go? Oh, look at this. Way back here. Behind my sedum. Wow. That's the other part of that little whirligig. Yeah, it never worked right, and the flower fell off. I forgot all about it. So, let's see. I got that. Yeah, this I just found laying in the ground, but must have had really good paint on it, because that did not really deteriorate. So I'm going to check out the situation with that. And this, God, look at all this stuff. Got vines growing up in it. And that's gotten really rusty. That's a really pretty piece. So I'm going to go back over it and put some color into that. We'll leave that there for now. Okay, what else we got? Okay, we've got this nice trellis. I'm going to leave that alone for the year. I have a lot of other stuff I need to do. Okay. La 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 la. And I'm just starting to clean out my garden beds, so. Alright, this piece up here, I just found the other day because I did a lot of pruning. And it's just starting to get rusty, but that's another piece. I'm not going to touch that this year. I'm not going to worry about it. And I think that's it. I think that's all I got. Yep. That's, oh, nope, wait a minute. But wait, there's more. Oh my God. I just cleaned out this bed the other day. I think there's a third one somewhere. But these are really pretty. They glow in the dark. I haven't seen them in years until I cleaned out my garden bed. So I think that's it. Oh, wait. There's a little resin piece up there. Totally faded in the sun. But for now, that's all I can find. So let's get back to the work table and get some of this stuff done. It's already noon and I don't want to lose too much more daylight. All right, see you soon. Okay, so I'm partway through. Didn't get as far as what I had hoped to today, but let me show you what I got done so far. Typically on a day like this in New England, you got to get done what you can. on a nice day. But I had an appointment this morning, so I didn't get started till a little bit late. So here's the bird bath. I had already prepared this, but now I'm seeing, because this is an old bird bath, it was owned by somebody else, and I don't know if you can see right there. They probably touched it up with paint every now and then, but I see that the enamel that I put on here is reacting to whatever was under there. So it's not a compatible paint. I sanded off as much as I could, got it down to as smooth a surface as I could, but now the paint underneath in parts is starting to lift up. So I'm gonna put this inside and let it cure and get it out of the elements, because it's getting quite windy and we're gonna have a wet day tomorrow. So my husband wasn't really crazy about the fact that he caught me using his blue spray paint. I call it Giant's Blue. This is what he spray paints his horseshoes with, but I wanted to do more of a periwinkle, but I couldn't find that color paint in my arsenal today. So, and tree buds are starting to fall into the paint, and I got a couple bugs stuck in here already. So I'm gonna have to go back this whole thing once it dries, and I'm going to have to sand it down. I really thought I had a smooth finish up here in the basin, but you can see all the roughness in there, but that's okay. I'm going to wait for it to cure. At least now I know it's clean. I'm going to keep it dry, keep it inside, and go over the other parts. And also what I would suggest doing, what I will do is detach it. When it's dry, I'll flip it upside down, detach these, and spray the basin and finish off the top. I'm going to spray the inside here to seal it, put a little WD-40 on those, because once this thing breaks, that's forever. This is a super old piece. So I did not get to any of that, any of this, but metal takes a little bit longer to prep. So I did at least, I got my plant stands, I sanded them down real good. They're looking good. Even the really rusty parts, I feel really good about how they came out, and they're almost dry, but it's gonna take some time. And look at the difference there on the I don't know what you call this, but the balancing thing, there's the base to it. I started off painting those, and I started off painting the little spoon. That's pretty much dry. The spoon dragonflies. So I've got a lot more work to do, but it's going to be a cold, rainy day tomorrow. So we'll see how much farther I get. I don't heat my my work space. So, you know, this time of year, I focus on doing my own statuary. I only offer clients statuary repair in May and June, because those are the best months to do that. And after that, I get super busy. So excuse the mess over there. Pulling out all my garden stuff. So we're going to leave it at that right now. And I'm going to start bringing stuff inside, because I don't know what time it is right now, but sun's going down. things are starting to fall out of the sky, and I gotta get this stuff out inside before the moisture comes and mucks up the mess. And the thing that I need to remind myself when I'm working on pieces like this, you want to be sure that the metal is not too hot or too cold, and your paint is at the same temperature, because otherwise you're going to get like this orange peel effect in the paint and it's never going to adhere. So that's one thing I always need to work around in this kind of weather. Even if you live in a warmer temperature, you know, it's the same thing. You never want to work on a really hot surface or a really cold surface, because that stuff will never adhere. It'll never dry. So I'll see what I can get done tomorrow and check on back with you. And over here, got these really nice trellises. I got them for a great price many years ago, and I'll have to get some before and after pictures. So what I'll be working on today, they're getting in pretty rough shape, so they need to be sanded real good and stained. And I got to go over, of course, take the vines off. I got to go over the metal starting to rust a little bit. I think it's a pretty color, but I would prefer to prevent any more rust from happening. Like this one over here is much worse. One gets a little more sun, one gets a little more rain. So this one's in a lot rougher shape. So I'm gonna clean that up and work on the metal first, and then another day I'll go in and stain them. All right, it's still a little noisy, but let's see what we can get through while the tree guys are taking a break. So these are some of the pieces that I did finish, and the light is good on them, so I want to try and get through this before they start back up. I found this really nice copper, so I did the Dragonfly bodies and a little bit of the wings with the copper, and sanded off all the rust on the stakes and painted them black. Now whoever made these, I have to find the other eyeball. The gemstones were put on with hot glue, which doesn't make any sense. So as I was finishing up on this piece, that popped right off. I have to find the other eyeball here, but I'm going to pop off all the gems and put contact cement on there and put them on right. Okay, moving over here. This little piece was pretty super rusted, especially the shovel. And I like the galvanized look, so I sanded it down and just had 2 cans of spray paint, one black, one white in each hand, and I sprayed a little and blotted it in to give it some texture. And then I went over with that nice copper. I did the tips of the leaves. It gave it a nice metallic effect. One of the leaves popped off, so I'm gonna have to solder that back on. And here's our balancing dragonfly. Happy with how this came out. I used bright gold and copper, and I added a little bit of green to give it kind of a jewel effect. It needed a good sanding. It was pretty rusty. And I did the base in a black with a tint of copper on there. So I like how that piece came out. I'm happy with that. And sunflower. Same thing, very rusty. I sanded it real good. And I didn't want it to just be black like it was before, so I gave it a nice bright gold with copper. And same thing here. On the leaves, I put a little bit of green tint to it. So, oh, and the bird bath. I would have preferred to use a periwinkle blue, but I only had the bright blue. I got scolded for using that because that's my husband's horseshoe paint. And the base is bright white. So I'm going to go back over it with periwinkle when I get the paint, but for now that's fine. And I'll smooth it out a little bit. I didn't have silver for the bird, but so it turned out gold. So I'll have to build this up with some Bondo so I can get it on there, give it a better base for it to sit on. All right, that's as far as I got on the complete pieces, and they don't all go lined up like this. They'll go to their respective places in the garden. And over here are, can't see them, the plant stands. And they came out pretty good. There was one, this one here, you can probably see the texture in there. This one was super corroded, so I smoothed it down the best I could, and I have a few others I need to do that are already in use, so I'll swap those out and get those working. And I still have these pieces to go. I'm almost out of black paint, and I want to use up everything that I can, so I am probably going to get pretty creative with the little tricycle planter, and that really needs to be cleaned up and given a nice coat of paint. And these guys, there is a third. I have to find out. I got to go dig around my garden and find it, because it's the sun, the moon, and the star. So I'm going to do these in copper. And these things you get from the catalogs, they're not well made at all. Let's see if we can get a better look at that. They're really poorly made. They rust out real quick. And let me show you the other piece to that. Sorry to keep moving around like this. Yeah, like look at how rusty that is. That didn't last more than like a month. And then the spinny part that goes there is popped off. Ugh. So these have to be really scraped down. I don't really know exactly what. Look at that. No more paint. I don't think I even have to scrape it. So I'm not sure what I'll be able to do with these. You know, they're really cute though. I'll find a purpose for them in the yard, but I don't think these butterflies are going to flap their wings anymore. And that's kind of all I have right now, except for the trellises. And I do have a heart plant hanger somewhere. I had to put everything away because we went from 75 degrees one day, which was a great day to work on all of this stuff. And then we went to 20 degrees overnight and snow the next morning. So I lost a couple days of work, and now I've got, every time I try and do an outdoor video, somebody decides to cut down a tree or two. So I've got a lot of noise next door. They're taking a break right now, thank God. So I can do this, because I gotta get this done and edited. Like, I only have tonight to do it at this point. So that's where we're at right now, before they start sparking up the chainsaws and the wood chipper again. So I still got some work cut out for me, but it's a turned out to be a pretty nice day. I think I'll get the rest of it done. So, in spite of the noise, it was still a productive day. I got a couple more pieces done, including the tricycle. It took a lot longer than you would hope it would, because preparing metal, I hand sand everything. This was really rusty. I love the color. I went with the copper on top of the underlying black, and I think it turned out great because it's not too bright, but it's got like this nice dark metallic sheen to it. I really like it. I did accidentally pick up the bright orange or bright gold while I was working on the handlebars, but I like that because it accents them a little bit. Love the color. Really happy with how that came out. It just took actually probably a couple hours to hand sand all of the rust on that. And this flower here, this wasn't in too bad shape. So this, wherever this came from, this already had a pretty decent coat of paint on it that didn't deteriorate. So I just went over with that copper. I wanted to use up that can, and I did. I don't like having half-used cans laying around. So I love that color. I just sprayed a little bit here and there, and it got a nice metallic finish to it. And here we go to these guys. Unfortunately, my moon broke off the stand, so hopefully I can solder that on. I'm not a welder, so that's the only fix I have. But I sprayed those in a bright gold, and they look so much better than that rusty black paint. And also, as I was working on this piece, because I taped up the glow-in-the-dark orbs, it started to come off. So this was not put on with a good adhesive. What's wrong with people, man? So like I said, I'm pretty happy with what I got done. Oh, cue the cat. Oh my God. I think it's time for the wild one to eat. Wild thing. Anyway, she's a feral cat and she owns me. So these catalog bought pieces, bring it over here. They're going to take a lot of work, and I don't have a lot of time in my day left for that, so we'll get on back to that. And so we'll get on back to that, and in the meantime I can just look and, you know, I got quite a bit done. And there she goes, making herself known. So I feed her like the little bitch I am. Anyway, side note, spay and neuter, people, because you wind up with that back there in the background. Somebody, I don't know where she came from, but her business is taken care of now. So yeah, so I'm really happy. So I'm really happy with how the bike came out. Had I not run out of black paint, I probably would have just sprayed it black. But like I said before, I'm just trying to use up anything that I already have on hand. So what I do, the reason I have all these colors of spray paint, I don't like using aerosol cans. I don't think they're good for the environment, but I knew a couple people who were moving out and had like shelves of partially used spray cans that they were just going to chuck. So I wound up with a variety of colors and, you know, using up as much as I can in there. But that gives you an idea of what you can do with your own pieces. And I'm going to keep on working with what I have. And one of my next upcoming videos is going to be a garden tour. And you're going to get to visit all of these items where they normally go in my yard. Right now they're kind of clustered together so I can just get pictures and everything. But thanks for coming by. I really appreciate it. And come on back for the next one. And definitely don't miss the garden tour, because that's going to be a lot of fun. But, you know, hit that like button so you don't miss anything. And let me know if you need any help with your own garden statuary. I can either do a virtual video, or if you live nearby me in Connecticut, pick up or drop off. All right, so be well, everybody. Take care. Well, there's a reason that I would prefer to work outside and do my video outside, but seems every time I do, somebody in the neighborhood decides to cut down a tree. So we got that. We got the wood chipper. It's really freaking noisy out here today. Well, hopefully they only have one tree, or they take a lunch break or something, because I got to get going on this. What the heck, man? So here we are. It's a little bit noisy today. I don't know, I might have to do this again, do a redo, but anyway, it is what it is. So and here we are in my noisy backyard. I'm going to try and get through part of this, but it sounds like I'm going to have to redo the video. But let's at least get an idea of what we have here. All right, so the other day was beautiful in the 70s, and then the next couple days there was snow, and it was in the 20s in the early morning, and didn't get past 30, 40 all day. So you can't really paint in that. Good Lord, help me with this sound. I'm definitely going to have to redo. You can't paint in that kind of temperature. So I lost a couple days, but I still got a lot done that first day. So let's see, this piece here, I don't know if you can really see it that well. The lighting is a little bit tough. Let's put it down in shade. There we go. Yeah, so this piece was getting pretty rusty. I liked the galvanized look to it. So I just took a black spray hand and a white spray can in each hand, and sprayed it on and dabbed it, because I couldn't hand paint it until I sealed the rust. But I like how it came out. And then I took, I found a really nice bronze can of paint in my stash. So I did the tips of the leaves with that, and I really like how that came out. I don't know if you can see it, but one of the leaves, I'm going to have to solder that back on. It's got a nice metallic finish to it, and it's not too bronzy. It's just a touch of color. So I'm happy with that one. And here we got the Dragonfly States. Really happy with how those came out. I put a little bit of that bronze on the Dragonflies. and a little bit in their wings, and sanded off all the rust and painted the post black. Oh yeah, it's just gonna get noisier and noisier. Okay, so the plant stands I'm really happy with. All right, I gotta stop right now. All right, and we have not happy with how they put another gemstone popped off from here. I'm not happy with how they used hot glue on something like this that's going to be outside. That's not too smart. Anyway, I'll have to put that back on. The sunflower, I'm really happy with that. It was really rusty, and so I took some bright gold and some of that copper to add a few accents in there. I'm happy with that. With the leaves, it's tough to do this one-handed, but the leaves there, I added a little bit of green over the metallic. Really happy with how that came out. And here we have the bird bath. I didn't have any silver for the bird, and I'm going to have to build this up with Bondo to get the bird on. The blue is not the color I would have chosen. I wanted a periwinkle, but I didn't have that on hand. So I'm gonna wait to do anything else to this until I get the right color. But for now, I've got a nice base coat on there, and we'll go from there. So that's almost all I got done so far. And here we have our balancing dragonflies. I sprayed that with gold and copper and a little bit of green to get that nice jewel effect in there. So I have to, that's the balancing bar down there. So I have to take off the tape that I masked off the marble with. And this is good to go. And then I have this pile down here that I still need to work on. And we'll move on from there. But I'm going to have to redo this because it is so loud out here. I can't even hear myself talk. So with the plant stands, they weren't in too bad shape except for this one. It was super corroded, and you can see how the metal got eaten into. But, you know, I sanded that down and smoothed it out as best I could. I'm happy with how they came out, and I got plants ready to start perching on there.